You cannot be a rabbit. What a rabbit is defenseless. It's cute and gentle, but it can't defend itself. You have to be a lion.
Yeah.
You have to be a lion. You
Strong.
Have to
It's
strength, and that's strength for yourself.
People
It's
bet that.
it's to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Of all things,
Yeah.
protect yourself, because you can't lead from weakness. You have to have the strength to lead, and then you can have others follow you as well. And that's what I want to activate inside of the kids that are bullied and feel helpless. I want to tell them that they are incredible, that they are wonderful, that they are resilient, that they can do anything, that they can be anything. And I want my life to be an example, because my life could have gone south so many ways if I had my negative thoughts take over.
Hey there, welcome to the Storytime with Ellie podcast. Today, our guest, Mark Hulseway, a speaker, filmmaker, and a conscious advocate whose mission is to end the school shooting epidemic by addressing its root cause, a mental and emotional health crisis. Let's welcome Mark. Come on in, Mark.
Glad to be here, Ellie.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it. I appreciate that. You have a lot to tell us today. And today our topic is going to be about bullying. And Mark's got a lot he'd like to share with us regarding this topic. So, Mark, where would you like to start?
Well, thank you again very much for having me on here. This is super important because it's tied to this epidemic of school shootings in America. What people see as just bullying and just general teasing is not what it once was. People are absolutely brutal and mean and vicious and nasty to each other. And why I'm so connected with it is because it's what I went through. I'm 6'9", I'm really tall. And just growing up as a kid, like my clothes didn't fit right. I had like Harry Potter glasses, super, whatever hair. And I just didn't fit in, literally. I stuck out like a sore thumb. And everybody made fun of me. And it didn't matter which school I transferred to. My parents transferred me to, private school as well, thinking it would be better. It was even worse, and I just didn't understand why people were so mean towards me, because I just wanted to be friends. I was a kind person, and I was like, why are people mean to me? And fast forward to where I am now, I've turned it into, I've done a TED Talk on this subject last year.
TEDx?
A TEDx talk.
Great.
Yes. Connecting the correlation between bullying and mental health, which is what the subject is really about, is mental health. And that is something that people need to take much more seriously, especially Congress. It's been 26 years now since Columbine. There's been over 400 school shootings.
400?
Yes. And, and then the Florida State University school shooting that just happened, that's here in Florida. That's our home state.
Yeah.
So it's going to continue to happen until we switch the conversation from guns to mental health, because that's where the kids are suffering. The kids are absolutely suffering, and there is no help for them at all. And I'm calling that out. I went through it myself. I had no help. People just, mental health and how kids treated one another, like that was not spoken about.
And excuse me, Mark, you just made a comment about switching from guns to mental health. And now what you're saying is we're all focused on guns,
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
We're always saying, the guns. But we need to focus more on mental health than just focusing on, get the guns out of everyone's hands.
Yes, and I believe that's why.
Yeah, I got you.
This has not truly been solved in 26 years.
Yeah, they're not addressing they're not addressing the root of the cause.
Exactly. They're looking at the surface level, but they're not looking at the root. At the end of the day, it's kids that are hurting and suffering, and they're hurting each other, and that's not being spoken about. Why is that not talked about? Why is empathy and emotional intelligence?
Don't you think sometimes when a child may some kids don't reach out to the parents to say they're being bullied, right? But it's really, there's signs that parents or caretakers have to look for in the children, and I think a lot of times you can have an idea that they're being bullied, but the main thing you would have to say that when the child is being bullied, to not only address the child that's being bullied, but to address the person being the bully. right? We tend to, like you said, you just move from school to school,
Right.
and you kept getting bullied, but no one really addressed these bullies and their pockets, and they're going to be in every school.
Right, because here's where the education system has really missed the mark.
Mm-hmm.
They tell us, get good grades, get a good scholarship, good degree, good
Mhm.
job. You'll live happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
Ethics, morals, values, integrity,
Kindness, be humble,
means nothing.
right?
You know, they don't talk about it at all because I guess I don't know why it's not spoken about. You know, human connection is what this life is about. We're all connected towards one another, and we don't address that humanity part of growing up.
So what's your thought on possibly to try to, I don't say rectify it, but you're trying to bring attention to more like in the school systems, like to try to instead, well, first of all, everyone's a victim.
Yes.
Even the bully. I mean, you may not want, a lot of people may not believe that, but the bully is a victim.
No,
Because usually they're being bullied by someone else.
That's
correct?
usually, yes. It stems from somewhere, yes.
So what's your thought? How you think we could possibly?
We have to look at it from a cultural perspective.
Mm.
You know, like we have to look at it at a truly a bigger picture and seeing how we treat each other overall, macro and micro. You know, it's there's other countries like, you know, Japan, you know, they at a very early age, they instill discipline and, you know, personal accountability at a very early age with responsibility and helping one another out.
But who's doing that?
The school system.
The school system, right? There you go.
Exactly.
Not
You
the
know,
parents, because a lot of these kids are not
Right.
getting it at the home.
Right. But fortunately, the parents are mindful as well over there. And so when they
I
go
got you.
home, the parents, you know, discipline the children to do
Mhm.
either it's the homework or whatever assignments it is.
So we're educating the parent as well. So that's a great idea.
It's a cultural, it's a whole cultural shift that needs to happen, but it starts at the education system.
Mhm.
And I believe that's where we need to channel resources and energy is in mental health in the United States immediately. Like
Yeah.
the kids are crying, the kids are suffering. Aside from those shooting crisis, there's a suicide crisis.
Yeah.
It's out of control.
Mhm.
It's stemming from the same thing, a lack of connectivity towards one another. I'm trying to bring humanity back together and teaching kindness towards one another. And that's the purpose of the film that I just finished producing is to call that out of the humanity. I'm trying to bring humanity back to the forefront. And then, you know, I'm essentially trying to be a voice for the voiceless because I was in those same shoes a long time ago that I thought I was in the extreme depression. I did not want to live any longer. Like I just did not like life at all because I was everywhere. The bullies, like it was extreme bullying. They made me feel worthless. And I had no outlet. I had nobody to talk to. I had nobody to truly express it to my feelings. And, you know, a lot of kids, they end that path, whether they decide to take their own life or take others with them, an expression of that anger, you know, that's what happens. We need to address that at the root. We need to start teaching kids emotional intelligence at a very early age and learning empathy and kindness towards one another.
And it definitely would have to be done. I mean, I hate to keep putting everything into the school systems, but let's face it, they're the ones who have our children the majority of the time.
The children, they are in the schools, correct?
Exactly. And this is where they're learning a lot. I mean, a lot of the stuff's learned from the home,
Yes.
but once they leave the home, you could still educate them.
Yes.
To and they're moldable at that younger age, and it should be also implicated in the younger grades. So this way, by the time they're an adult, hopefully it.
No, I fully agree around elementary school.
So, but what happened to you, Mark? If you don't mind me, what helped turn you around? Like when this happened to you, or we don't have to talk about it. But
No,
yes, if you did.
I know we need to talk about it.
Yes.
Because, you know, I felt there was no way out for myself, and I just was living in extreme depression and sadness. And, you know, I realized that humans are truly resilient beings. We can go through so much and carry forward and become better versions of ourselves. And I just had to basically turn the switch off of the negativity. I had to realize that my value and my self-worth is not dictated on your opinion.
Right. Could you just for a second explain how you did that, just in case, you know, because people are going to watch this, could be going through the same thing.
Absolutely.
A little hint or how you, or
I started around age 25. I started reading tons of books on personal development and psychology.
Okay.
Carl Jung especially, and how the psyche works, and realizing that, I was allowing negativity to perpetuate in my life by allowing the bullies to take over my life. I had to learn to cut off their energy. I was caring too much about them. Once I learned how to just cut off all of their energy and redirect it towards self-love and doing things that I care about, whether it's playing piano, walking my dog, or working out, or reading a book, whatever it is, I just started redirecting my energy towards myself and my self-care. And then my life started to shift at that point. And then from that point, I started attracting new people into my life that were in alignment with who I am now.
Got you. So, in other words, do you feel that when someone's being bullied and this is happening to them, they should really turn into self-love for them? And
Right.
the stronger they are from themselves,
Yes,
that can be projected to other people.
absolutely.
And that
Yes.
could, I don't want to say scare them. I don't use the word scare,
Right.
but, and I think I made this analogy one time before about the puppies.
Right.
Like if you have puppies, right? And I hate to say the weaker puppy, but the other puppies will pick on the weaker one.
Exactly.
Or dogs, whoever you want it.
You're right.
And it's almost the same way as a person. If you could be strong.
100%. And an analogy that really helped me shift my life drastically is that I realized that the old me was a black hole. There was so much negative energy I was absorbing from everybody. And the second I realized that I am not a black hole, that I am a shining star.
Right.
And we are actual, like our DNA is literally from the stars. We are star beings. And once you realize how incredible you are and how you can choose the light, choose the positivity, and choose your purpose and your path, then the black hole dissolves. And then once you become that shining beacon of light, people become drawn to that, and they want to see, what's that about? And they have that too. We all have that power. We are all capable of incredible transformation and living a beautiful new life.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
You just got to choose.
Right.
Know what you're actually worth.
Beautiful. Yeah, good.
Mark, do you feel that the bullying situation has gotten worse with the internet?
Oh, that's cyberbullying. That's huge.
Is grass green?
Yeah.
When social media, my dad tells me all the time, back in the day, we had a problem, we would fight it out in front of the schoolyard, and then we would shake hands afterwards. That's not how it is anymore.
No.
These days, people hide behind keyboards and are truly, truly evil to each other. And it hurts to see how awful human beings can treat one another out of for nothing. There's no reason to do this other than to just, I don't even understand. Like the psychology of bullying and hurting others, I don't even comprehend it.
Well, that's because they got mental illness.
Right.
And we can't,
But the problem is that it's almost like they're being kind of not programmed, but like the benefit is not there. Like I know today, I think they just signed off on synthetic dyes being banned from the food supply in America.
Oh, wow.
Because it's been proven that these artificial colors and dyes are neurodisruptors. So we're almost poisoning our children, and we're wondering why they're behaving erratic. We have to take care of them. We have to truly treat them, with love and incredible care. And we got to watch out what they're eating, what they're listening to, the music they listen to, everything that they watch. Everything matters.
We're sponges. We're like a sponge, especially the little ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We all are. But we need to be sponges for kindness now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your plans? Do you have any plans in the future that you plan on working on to possibly get this into schools? You have anything that you're...
That's what my current film is for. I did the TED Talk explaining the cause behind bullying and its correlation with school shootings.
And what's the name of that film again? I know you said it, but...
It's called In Plain Sight.
In Plain Sight.
Yeah, we just finished final cut, and we're going to be submitting to the film festival circuits coming up. And it's going to, I believe, just the point is to generate mass awareness to this problem that's going on, to eventually to get to Congress. That's the whole mission of what I'm trying to do, is to...
Well, and you got some time to get it done, because if you get it done quick, it's going to go through. You know that.
Oh, absolutely. You
That's all
know,
I'm saying.
and no, I completely understand. So that is the goal. Is to
Yeah.
get there, is to reform education, to get
Yeah.
Linda McMahon, the new Secretary of Education,
Right.
Miss Melania Trump.
Mm.
She's a very anti-bullying,
Right.
and also I have to talk about this. And RFK Jr. spoke about this too a couple weeks ago. He was talking about the majority of school shooters were on antidepressants or SSRIs. And it's been proven that it says on the warning label, black box warning label, which is the highest warning label there is, increased suicidal tendencies.
Crazy.
You know, we have to see what's going on, you know, and we got to see what's really going on in the big picture and really see what we can do to help out our kids, to save our kids.
Yeah.
This is the future of America.
No, I get you. Yeah. You worry about this stuff. And I have grandkids, so I worry about that all the time. You know, the little one comes home recently and made a comment about someone in school, so I perked right up, and I'm like, I'm the old way, so I'm like ready to go, just go, knock them out and don't worry about it. But it's teaching them to be strong, and I'm not saying to take it,
right?
But the more they will fold into it,
Right.
I think too,
Yes.
is they're going to be picked on more.
Right.
And it's just a matter of the home and bringing it to the parents. And my
Yes.
grandson can talk, and he told us some stuff. And it's like, we don't say, oh, toughen up. Well, isn't that another thing people may say? Like, oh, toughen up.
Yeah. And
That's another big, oh, toughen up. Well, you know what? It may not be a matter of toughen it up. It's just,
no, it comes back to the same issue of
Yeah.
compassion and kindness. That's really what it comes down to. Like, why are kids wanting to hurt each other? Why do people in general wanting to hurt each other? It's because it stems from one thing: fear. Fear for whatever reason.
right. But I meant as far as being the victim of a bully.
Right.
It's, it's kindness for them,
Right.
but there's a certain amount of they have to be able to show. I don't want to say show strength, but they have to learn to be strong inside and know their worth. And it's always about knowing their worth.
Yeah.
And that's where the home life can help too.
No.
And the parents shouldn't tune them out and say, oh, be toughening up.
No, 100%. It needs to be an overall environment of compassion and understanding. But we have to teach these kids not to be rabbits. And I know Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot, about, you cannot be a rabbit. What a rabbit is defenseless. It's cute and gentle, but it can't defend itself. You have to be a lion.
Yeah.
You have to be a lion. You
Strong.
It's strength, and that's strength for yourself.
People
It's to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Of all things,
Yeah.
protect yourself, because you can't lead from weakness. You have to have the strength to lead, and then you can have others follow you as well. And that's what I want to activate inside of the kids that are bullied and feel helpless. I want to tell them that they are incredible, that they are wonderful, that they are resilient, that they can do anything, that they can be anything. And I want my life to be an example, because my life could have gone south so many ways if I had my negative thoughts take over.
Love the passion, Mark. But
it's to my heart, because again, so many kids are suffering. The amount of kids that are just dying all the time, ending their lives. They're thinking about, there are kids right now that are, thinking about shooting up a school in various cities right now. It's because they're time bombs, because they're cultivating the same environment of hatred and negativity, and there's no compassion anymore, and there's no outlet. I'm trying to reemphasize and put that back into our culture as humanity, as human beings. Do you remember Fred Rogers?
Yeah.
The man was pure compassion and kindness.
Yeah.
And that's what he tried teaching the next generation, is that compassion and kindness towards one another. So I want to sort of resurrect Fred Rogers' incredible humility and compassion, and teaching each other kindness towards one another. That's what I want to bring back. Nice.
And you'll do it, because it's in your heart.
Thank you.
And it's something you really believe in. Right, Phil? We could just listen to you talk.
The passion.
You're right there. Yeah, you're going to do it. You got a lot of strength and experience, and you will bring it to the forefront. And I'm thrilled about the movie.
Thank you.
That is a good way to start. It's one way people will see it and know more about it.
Yes.
And hopefully something comes soon with this.
Yeah.
So how young, like in your proposed plan, how young should we be starting this in schools? Is it kindergarten, first grade, second grade?
That is an excellent question. There are layers to it. And there are experts that can add in what I'm going to say, but it does start kindergarten.
Yeah.
Like, what is happiness? What is sadness? Teaching them these emotions, what makes us human, and how emotions, how important that is to regulate it. Because I believe that because the school system doesn't address emotions at all, the kids cut off their emotions. And now it's like a bunch of robots walking around, with no expressions or no drive or no passion. I'm trying to reawaken and ignite that back inside of them. So teaching emotional intelligence and empathy at an early age. But this next portion that I'm going to talk about, this is super important. I believe around middle school, to teach true accountability, we can start talking to them about, quantum mechanics and quantum energy and how we are frequency and electromagnetic beings. And, the consequences, if you want to be a bully, if you like to be negative and that's what gives you power, what goes around comes around. And that's the law of vibration and the law of frequency. You emit that energy signature, it's going to come back to you, and it's not woo-woo anymore. It's not been proven by quantum science. And I believe once they have that accountability and understanding that we are magnetic beings and we all impact one another, to choose positivity.
Right.
Because everything good stems from that.
Well, we call it manifestation, right?
Exactly. That's
what like you're using the technical term, which we understand. I actually had a gentleman on my podcast who wrote a book about all this. Remember, Phil?
Yep.
And
Emilio, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote all about this, and it's like we call it manifestation, but it's the same. That's it.
Same thing. It's the same thing.
You did the science side of it.
It is manifestation, and I believe kids are highly intelligent. If I would have learned this information when I was like 10 years old, it would have completely changed my life.
Wow. Okay.
I sought this knowledge when I was a kid, but it wasn't. I just didn't know where to look. I believe if we teach kids this early on, they will have much greater accountability for their actions, and because they're going to be accountable for their actions, they're going to be naturally kinder to one another.
Right.
And it's going to be a positive domino effect. And then over time, because of that, add in reforming education around this. School shootings, mass shootings, suicides, violence in general is going to drastically go down.
I agree.
Mark, do you believe in destiny?
That's a whole other podcast.
I'm going somewhere with this because you mentioned that if you would have had this information in hindsight, you could be a completely different person,
right?
But you wouldn't be you.
You wouldn't be sitting here in this podcast.
That's correct. Einstein was onto something with his relativity. Let me tell you something. So yeah.
You wouldn't be here talking to us.
Correct. Everything happened for a reason. I'm just glad to be here to talk about this.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here too.
Yeah.
So yes. Tell us some more.
What more would you like to know?
Okay, so what's the next plan? I mean, you're here. You got the movie. You're getting ready to release the movie?
We're going to be submitting it to film festivals globally.
Nice.
And that's where we're going to get attention. And then from there to generate the feedback and reception to have change happen in Congress. There's some investors who want to talk about turning this into a feature film, and I want to essentially do what Tyler Perry did up in Atlanta. I want to open up a studio over here, but I want to cater it towards mental health.
Nice.
Everything towards mental health and just helping human beings grow. There's a couple of other features that we have in mind that we want to do, and it's catered towards, again, psychology and mental health and helping people grow. That's what I want to launch forward. That's what I want to help create. I want to help inspire as many people as I possibly can. Because when I tell you,
sounds like you're on your way.
Yeah,
that will happen.
Yeah,
I mean, you're doing a great job so far.
Yeah.
Cool.
So let's say you implement your steps in school, right?
Let's say what?
You implement your steps in school,
right?
What kind of staff would be needed? Like, what kind of are these counselors or therapists? Like, who would be talking to these kids?
Mainly therapists. I would want to have an influx of resources. Like, if we could just have psychologists and therapists available to all. Go ahead.
Yes, I was going to say, I don't want to say that would be extremely costly, but there's also coaching.
Right.
You got your coaches that they're, I mean, I'm actually one. You can want my number? No. Seriously. I mean, you're going to have a lot and experience just like they do, like with rehabilitation. A lot of your rehabilitators have been like drug rehab. A lot of them use drugs.
Yes.
So this would be great to focus on people that have been bullied that do coaching
Yes.
to bring it to the forefront as well. And it would be much, a little more feasible
Right.
to the schools as well. A little.
The United States of America spends a lot of money in many places.
Well, you know how they are when it comes to budgets.
If we can just take some of that for our kids.
Yes.
For our kids and their mental health, they're literally dying.
Yeah.
They need it more than anyone else, I feel like.
Yeah. No,
let's just redirect some of those resources towards them, helping them out. And that would be a huge step that we could take as a nation.
Nice.
Truly.
No, it's a whole nother pocket, a whole nother.
Absolutely. So the resources are there. We just need to allocate them.
Okay. Well,
so
hopefully
with the dissolution of the Department of Education, does that like mess with your plans?
I don't know what's going on in the bigger picture. I just know what I'm trying to bring forward is just awareness to this cause. There's a lot of people involved in that, so I can't speak about that because there's too many people involved behind the doors. All I know is that I'm just trying to just do what I can to bring awareness to this and a solution to this, and just talking about the humanity crisis that's going on.
Yeah, and it's a great thing. But also, Phil, real quick, I met Mark. I'm going to bring up to Sean Roberts, who is film producer and also the creator of AMRAC. Now, he also come on the podcast, and he does films around anti-bullying programs. So that's how I met Mark, was at one of his events downtown in Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really good friends with Sean. We go back a while ago, and his
He text me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so funny about the photo shoot.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, he's
funny.
Good guy.
Yeah.
We connected a while ago, and it's the same cause, same anti-bullying. But I'm trying to just bring proactive measures out there. Anti-bullying awareness and campaigns. We've had that for decades. I'm trying.
You got to go some more. You got to go further, and you're doing it.
Yes,
you're doing it.
I'm getting to the root of this, and this will not change. This violence will not change until we look at ourselves in the mirror as a nation and see what was happened to us with the hearts.
And I think you'll get. I cannot imagine too much resistance on this topic because there's so many people who either lived it, had it done to them, or family members.
Everyone's been affected.
Everyone in one way or the other has been bullied.
I remember that when I was on stage doing my TED Talk, I was like, "Who here has been affected by bullying?" Everyone raised their hands.
So it's a topic that you can't say, "Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. It's like, it doesn't affect me. I don't know what you're talking about." This is something everyone had a turn at the wheel with it.
Right. So we all go through this, and it's just why don't we talk about this in the school system? Why do we not talk about emotional intelligence and empathy and our connection towards one another?
And and I always look at things in a way that it could be brought into the schools, and it shouldn't be that far in advance. Like, you can't say, another 5 to 10 years. All as they need is, just like they have a play, or just like they have, and maybe they do this. I don't think they do, though. Just base it on bullying.
Yes.
I mean, they might. I might be talking about something that they do have. I don't think they do.
Right.
But if the school just even implicates that, a couple times a year, even to run programs about, that type of thing, and awareness of bullying.
Shift the conversation from guns to mental health.
Yeah.
And it'll
no, I agree with you.
Naturally just flow in that direction.
Yeah, and you're right, because that's the first thing they'll start talking about is, oh my God, they have the guns. I mean, the things that people said about this recent shooting.
Right.
I guess, I don't have to bring about, it was the woman, I guess the kid's mom's gun. So, I mean, people were saying, oh, well, he should have shot the mom. And people were saying some crazy things on social media.
Right.
But I'm like, there you go. Here we are. We're yelling, complaining about the gun.
I know.
And the mother shouldn't have the gun. Well,
I know.
It's like you're saying, we got to go beyond that.
It's the tool of what's going on the inner world. And areas where guns are banned, they have stabbing problems.
Well, and I actually used so I had a gentleman on my podcast, another one, and we talked about gun control and gun
Right.
safety. And I made the same comment. I said, a car is a weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're having one of these crazy, I mean, you could take a car and run into a building.
No,
Anything could be a weapon.
we just had this happen during New Year's Day. Remember New Orleans?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
Again, it's a tool. The hearts need to change.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. We're just destroying each other from hatred. Hatred from
Yeah. No, you got a good point there. I mean, you're on. I mean, yes, it makes a lot of sense.
So
You know?
I'm just trying.
You're on a good mission.
I'm just trying to bring out what to me is the obvious, and just trying to make something happen from that. That's what matters to me, and that's what I believe should be the larger scale focus of this.
Okay, great, good.
Mark, you're probably what? You're under 40?
I'm what?
You're under 40?
Yes.
So you're a millennial, right?
Yes.
Who do you think had it worse? Like as bullying, was it the millennials or Gen Z or the alpha kids now?
Man, I think this has been going on for centuries or thousands of years. Just human beings just being negative towards one another just naturally. And, it's because people operate off of the amygdala. The amygdala is the fight or flight response in the brain, and when you're in the woods and there's a bear, you need that, right? But now we're not in the woods anymore. Now we're in the classroom. So that fear energy is being manifested and projected towards that kid's too tall, too short, too skinny, too fat, too white, too black, Muslim, Jew, Christian. All that fear turns into this hatred, and then the hatred breeds violence.
Yeah.
It's right in front of our faces.
Yeah.
We have to just address the deeper part of us and know that instead of acting out of fear, we can choose love. When you choose love, everything changes for yourself and the people around you.
Yeah, so you manifest on that. You manifest, turn it around.
Absolutely. Everything changes. Your life changes. My life has completely shifted. And when I tell you that my life before was a very, very dark place, it was. And I'm talking for many years.
Wow.
Until I realized that, what's going on. And I realized it's the energy that I was carrying inside of me. I had to take that out, replace it with the love that I am and the love that we have for one another. And with that, you change everything.
Right. And that's actually I don't want to take it off the subject of bullying, but that's everything.
It is everything.
In life. It's I get it.
Absolutely everything. Yep.
Do you plan on having some programs for parents too? Because the kids can have all these programs in school, but then when they get home, if their parents are toxic or bad too,
right?
What would happen with that?
Well, I want to. That's an additional layer. That's actually a very important question.
Yes, because most of them are being abused home. That bullying comes from somewhere.
Exactly.
So good question, Phil.
It's addressing the layers behind that. And I want this knowledge to stem around, not just from the kids with the whole law of attraction and vibration and energy, but the adults can tap into that same energy too. A lot of the adults are holding on to the same abuse, generational curses from the past. You can break it immediately by choosing love. But you can't give love to your children if you don't love yourself.
Right. Yeah, because they only know bullying, and bullying is not hereditary. It's not something that's you weren't born with that.
Right.
It's a learned process.
Exactly. So it's time to just
passed on from
generation to generation, and it's time to break that. It's time to break that now, and give our kids hope for a better future.
Okay.
By making the better choice.
Well, let's get on this. Let's get going. You're like, I am.
Mark, what brings you peace?
What brings me peace?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel that.
Oh, man.
Well, you don't have to answer that.
No, nobody's ever asked me that question.
I know.
I'm asking because you seem so passionate and you seem so compassionate about these kids and what's going on with them. I want to know what actually brings you peace, man. How do you relax?
I mean, generally, I like watching sunrises and sunsets, meditation.
Yeah, I can tell definitely meditation. I could feel your vibe.
Yeah, playing piano is a big one. But like at the end of the day, those are nice. But what truly gives me peace is clarity of my purpose. My purpose is to save these kids.
Yeah, I believe that.
The kids are dying, and I am their voice. Every kid that has ended their life, I am their voice right here, right now. I'm crying out for them, but I'm a voice of reason and clarity because I've been through it. But I see the bigger picture of what's going on, and that's what brings me peace. It's because I know I'm not allowing this to perpetuate endlessly by bringing this up right now, because I know change will happen.
It will happen because of you. And we have to say thank you, Mark, for going on this journey.
Thank you.
You're going down quite a journey, and you'll probably hopefully make history. Somebody's got to do it. Someone's got to do it.
I just want to align with people that are in the same alignment of just.
And there's going to be a lot of people that are in that
mental health and just helping save the kids. If I unite, let us all unite together.
Yeah.
And we all unite forces, massive change will happen. I know that in my bones. I'm just following my calling, and my calling is telling me to do this.
Nice, beautiful.
Thank you.
Good. Very nice.
Do you have any stories of, I know your program isn't implemented yet, but do you have any stories of any children you may have mentored that, they're being bullied and now you kind of talk to them and now they're better off?
Children that I've mentored?
Yeah.
Not even just children, like even friends, like just people that have been in my circle that have known me for 10, 20 years. I've been able to they've seen my transformation. And I've gotten messages multiple times saying, Mark, because you told me this 3 or 4 years ago, I applied it. And because of that, it completely changed my life to something that's happened right now.
It's rewarding.
That's amazing. That's their reward.
That's it right there.
That's it right there. Changing lives, apply. I'm just a voice of reason and truth.
I like that.
Listen to what I say. Do your
reason
research.
And truth. I like that expression.
Do your research, and then do the homework, and then just do it.
Yeah.
And then when you do it, your life will drastically change, and then you'll inspire those around you.
Nice.
That's what it's about.
Great.
Someone watching this, right? Let's say a child is watching. What's the first steps for them if they are currently getting bullied and they see this episode? What should they take from this episode?
It's to love yourself. Like that is the number one thing.
Yeah, love yourself. I would say know your worth.
No, absolutely know your worth.
Know your worth.
Because I thought I was worthless, and I just, it was all just noise. But that's the emotional part of us that cares, but there's got to be a part of you that has to realize, you know what, that care, have it for yourself. Give that love to yourself. People that don't love you or speak mean things about you, you have to just forget about them because they're going through their own problems in their life.
Right. And that's a good way to put it too. Like when they do come up and they try to bully you,
right,
that's a great way to turn it around, to understand that it's not really you they're directing this to. It's nothing that you've done. It's their own insecurities, their own, obviously, mental illness.
Yes.
That's their problem, not yours. And I think that's a good way to express this to say children. Or, I mean, it happens at work too, right? I mean, we can go all day about this topic, but I mean, it can happen at work.
Everyone's affected.
But understanding that it's not you, and that's it, right? Know the word. It's not you as a person.
That is the number
you
one.
just happen to be a victim of some nut job.
Exactly, dude. Remember, everyone is powerful energy fields. Do not let someone's negative energy field affect your energy field.
Beautiful.
Let your positive energy affect them, if anything.
Yeah.
Love yourself so much that people feel your positivity in the room that you walk in.
Yep.
And that's vibration. That is frequency. That is energy. Once you realize you have that power within you, your whole life completely changes. And it's the most beautiful thing to see others transform when they apply it.
Nice. Well said.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job, Mark.
Wow.
Thank you.
No, really.
Any last words you'd like to?
Where can we find you?
Well, we're going to put some of that on the screen, right? What do you
I'll put it in the comments.
The
description. So yeah.
But yeah, just
where can we find you?
Yeah, I mean, like, I got my Instagram, and my TED Talk is there too. But you're gonna see me everywhere soon enough. I'm gonna be submitting to the film festivals. I'm just gonna be pushing hard to just push this message out there.
I love it. Yeah.
You know, and those who align with that same energy, then I'll bring them in my orbit.
And you will.
Yeah.
The more stronger you are, the more you grow.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It'll be more powerful.
I'm trusting the process.
I got you.
It's a beautiful process.
Love it.
And I just want everyone to know that's listening to this, that's going through darkness, that you have an infinite light inside of you that you don't know. But once you tap into that light, your life will forever transform, and that there is hope. The hope is there, and there is a better tomorrow. You know, but you have to pull it out. It will not be given to you. You have to pull it out because it's already inside of you. So many people say the same thing, how it is within, truly within.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to inspire you to step within and know your power and know your self-worth.
Yes.
And go chase after your dreams, no matter how big they are.
Love it. Love it,
Yeah.
Mark. Mark, I want to thank you for being on the Storytime with Ellie podcast, and looking forward to bring you back on as you go further into this journey. And
It'd be a pleasure.
yeah, and let's see how far we got.
Yes.
Hopefully next time we bring you on, you got stuff in the schools.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ellie.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the podcast. Thank you.
Take care, guys.